So you want to know, how is it possible for people from another country to declare war in the United States using social media? This is how. First, they study the social media algorithms. A lot of people get their news and information traditionally through television, newspapers, radio, magazines, traditionally. In the era of social media, a lot of people now get their news from blogs, non-traditional sources such as bulletin board communities, online Facebook groups, Twitter, and various other different places that aren't necessarily verifiable. The information coming through them haven't been filtered, haven't been sourced, haven't been properly attributed to someone official. And so people are getting lots of information from different sources before, and they aren't always necessarily trusting the mainstream media, the main media. And the reason why they're not trusting the main media is because may not have liked some of the things the media have relayed about them or their communities or their political affiliation. And so because of that, they grow a distrust. And so they trust these non-traditional forms of media more. And then also along with that is that people just are bombarded with information from different places. They're getting news from their social media feed. They're also getting news from the radio and the TV, and then they're going to the work and they're getting news information from their coworkers. So there's a lot of information coming at them at the same time, and there's not enough time to fact check on their own or do some verification. It's just people hear it, and depending on whether or not they're more likely to believe it because perhaps the source is credible to them, or the person who the person is, the news reporter or the source of information is talking about is someone they don't like, they're more likely to believe an untrue story even if it's untrue. So knowing how all this work, operatives, I guess I can call them, from places like Russia and China and other places that have successfully manipulated and maneuvered and embedded themselves into the social and political discourse in America using social media, have realized that the social media platforms and algorithms work so that they elevate all of those voices that are getting the most engagement. And by engagement, I mean that people, there's different levels of engagement. So if someone posts something on their Facebook page, for example, and you say, oh, that's interesting, I like that, you may see it and like it, but not like it enough to pause and push the like button. The like button is like level one sense of engagement. Then you say, well, this is so interesting, now I'm going to like it. I'm also going to let the person who posted, let them know that I really like that or I dislike that. So I'm going to say a comment. The comment is level 2. Then finally you have the granddaddy of it is sharing. It's like, not only do I like it, not only want to comment, I want all of my friends and followers who follow me and this other social media platform or this platform that we're all on, I want them to see it as well. And then they have an opportunity to like, comment, share. And that's how things go viral. It's like one thing, someone likes something, they share it and their friends share it and their friends share it. Next thing you know, it has like 100,000 shares and a million comments and things like that based on that viral effect of people sharing things. So that's why the sharing button is level 3. These platforms recognize, they allocate different levels. So for example, if there's an article, let's say about there's a new law to bridge the education gap between poor and rich kids, like there's an article. For the most part, most people agree, yeah, it should be some sort of equality, or kids who aren't from the means should have opportunity, or at least, access to opportunities that the rich kids have. So most of the comments on an article, people will see it, they may like it, they'll comment positive. All the positive comments, for the most part, are going to get pushed up. All the positive comments are just going to float through. You'll have 1 or 2 negative comments, someone, a troll, maybe someone who has ulterior motives, maybe someone who just doesn't like, diversity, will come in and they would chime in something that's adversarial or something that's toxic or vitriolic to the conversation. And what happens is it works. They get all the attention because they're being the voice, the negative voice in there. Everyone's coming in to attack them. People might like it but they're going to get the most attention because that vitriolic, because that toxic comment is getting the most attention. Facebook, Twitter, I guess, I don't know if Instagram maybe will take that comment, that negative comment, and elevate it to the top. And so now all of a sudden you have all these people in agreement, thousands of people in agreement. Their voices, it's like that saying that says the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So all the four wheels on a car, the three or wagon, the three wheels on the wagon that's working just fine, no attention. The one wheel that squeaks the loudest is going to get the attention of the cart driver. They're going to get out and they're going to add oil to it. And that's essentially what these social media platforms do. They oil, and by oiling, they push up to the top those platforms, those voices that are loudest and most toxic. And then that's how you sow seeds of dissension. And so people are fighting and they're just like not distrusting. And then all of that builds up a situation where people aren't trusting traditional institutions such as the media, traditional institutions such as the government, which people have always been cynical of the government. But you have a breakdown in people who ordinarily know we have a civil society that works well. It goes everything, we have the different institutions. We can trust them all. Everything's working well. And so when you have that discord and that breakdown, that's ripe. That's a ripe situation for having something where there's a candidate, perhaps that elevates to the top of it, who may do things non-traditionally, who may be bombastic, who may say things that, the people are thinking, but they don't want to say, who may, just be brash and aggressive and abrasive and do whatever they want with regard to the way the tradition works. And that person is then now essentially, when someone says, the comment section gets elevated, essentially it's all the people in the comment section, that one dissenting voice that gets all the attention, that one dissenting voice, it's rising in power. It's rising in power in more ways than one. So essentially that's what happens. And how it breaks down into the actual war is when systems, financial systems, institutions, educational systems, all of them are in disarray, and the people who are top of the government are just, everyone's fighting and bickering. There's a breakdown, and also the attention can't be paid properly to the military, for example. I read a report recently said that there's some military bases or installations that they haven't been upgraded. They haven't been tended to as much as they should because there's just not a time to pay attention to them, because we're focusing on so many other different things. There's so much chaos in the world. Add all the various different catastrophes, the wildfires in California, you got hurricanes in Texas and Puerto Rico, and then you have disasters and bombings and in critical war zones across the world. All of those things, it's created an environment where that the traditional stable government, which is the United States for the longest time, is now everyone's on pins and needles. Everyone's on high alert. Everyone's angst filled. And so people just aren't functioning. The normal government isn't functioning. And that allows governments like Russia and China and other countries that are not necessarily allies and maybe considered adversaries of the United States to come in now that they know these infrastructure systems have been fragile, have been broken, and come in and disrupt it or do something else, or inject themselves and make themselves now the new power or the new standard. So instead of it being the dollar, it's the yen. So essentially that's it. That's in a nutshell. It's an 8 minutes explanation of how it's possible, in case you're ever wondering, how can someone use social media, how someone, when I say someone, I mean an institute, a government, can put in trolls or activate a campaign where people are coming in and using social media to break down the government from the outside in, and that's how they do it. And so this is just an explanation for you. This is JJ Gatt. You're watching JJ Gatt. This is a business channel, business and content curation, online guru. But historically, JenniferSpeaks.com, which is my website, was a polytech blog where I talked about the intersection of politics and technology, and then also mixed with a little bit of legal. So just going back to my roots a little bit, I thought I'd take some time to explain that phenomenon for anyone who's out there wondering, because I looked and I see there's not a lot of people say this and they just don't understand, like, how is it possible? And so this video explains that. So if you like this, stay tuned for my channel. I'm going to be putting more videos. I'm going to be doing more with business advice on this channel, and you can look forward to it. So subscribe now, like this, share this with anyone you know. I'm going to try to update it more, but that's it. Hope that was helpful to you, and stay tuned for more good stuff to come. Bye.